It's fight night, Nate. And let me tell you something. We got a pretty interesting fight, okay, coming on June 19th, all right, which is going to be on Saturday on DAZN, and the main card starts at 11:30, so make sure you guys go check that out. But who this is pretty interesting, Nate. We got Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., the boxer, going up against MMA legend Anderson Silva. This is gonna be. Hey, look, I'm excited, Nate. I kind of am. I'm actually gonna watch this. I want to see how this is going to turn out. All right. Obviously, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. He is the son of legend Julio Cesar Chavez. But wait, speaking of the father, it gets better, Nate. The father is the co-main event or the fight before the main event. He is going up against Hector Camacho Jr. Now, in case you guys think that name sounds familiar, it's because Hector Camacho Jr.'s father was Hector Camacho Sr. And Hector Camacho Sr. was a great fighter in his day. And I believe, sadly, I think he's passed away. R.I.P. to him. But yeah, Nate, this is going to be a very, very, this is going to be a very, very exciting fight. That's all I got to really say. It's going to be pretty exciting, Nate. Um, both fighters, again, first of all, both fighters, again, between Chavez Jr. and Anderson Silva, they're both respected in their sport. Junior didn't obviously like would I say Junior is as famous and successful as Senior? Absolutely not. It's going to be nearly impossible to do something that Julio Cesar Chavez Senior did in his day. That's going to be nearly impossible because he won like 80 straight plus fights without losing. That's ridiculous. So obviously it's going to be hard to do that. But I will say this, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. has done a decent job making a name for himself. Now, obviously, he's lost to guys like Daniel Jacobs and Canelo Alvarez, but those are guys at the top of the food chain. Well, Canelo especially. Daniel Jacobs, he's like kind of somewhere like in the second, third tier, but like regardless, again, he's a very, very good fighter. But overall, Nate, I think this is going to be a pretty interesting event. But before I give my prediction on that event, I'm going to go to Cesar Chavez Senior versus Camacho Jr. That fight. See, here's what I'm concerned with. Okay, going to Camacho Jr. All right. When I look, first of all, Nate, the age difference is definitely something. Okay, Camacho Jr. is 42 years old, and Cesar Chavez Senior is 58. So that is a huge age difference right there, Nate. And not only that, it's been a long time since I've seen Chavez actually fight, Chavez Senior. But overall, obviously, you got the people like the old boxing fans who are like the old timers never losing. And that's true, but again, father time does take a toll on you. A little bit on Hector Camacho Jr. His record is I'm letting it load right now, but it's gonna take a minute. His record is 59-7 with 33 KOs. And overall, Nate, I mean, there hasn't. I'm looking at it, and I can't find that big fighter that like I can point to and be like, oh, he beat them as of now. But I will say this: his last fight, it was a win. It was a knockout win to Victor Abreu. And overall, Nate, I just think again, Camacho Jr. hasn't fought in about 3 years, but that's a lot less of a gap than Chavez Senior. That's no doubt about it. But I mean, so if I had to predict this fight, Nate, I'm gonna go Hector Camacho Jr. I think he's gonna beat him. But this is an exhibition, so it doesn't matter. There's not gonna be a winner or a loser if it goes the distance.
Yeah, those exhibition ones, it really doesn't matter. But we'll go Hector Camacho Jr. as well, Maya. I'll go with him as well. I just think, and no disrespect to Julio Cesar Chavez, obviously he's a great fighter. We know what he was capable of doing back in the day.
Legend.
He had like it was like 107 wins, was it? It's like
He
80
had
something
like 80.
knockouts, something like that.
Yeah, he had like 80 plus. Like he had
Yeah,
like 80 plus wins without a loss. Like a Mexican boxing legend.
yeah, absolutely. And I think the reason why Hector Camacho is going to win is only because of age difference. Like you said, he's 42, and Chavez is only like what? He's like 58 years old.
Yes,
Yeah,
58.
so I think the age difference is really going to get him. But hey, you never know. I could be proven wrong.
Right. You never know. Hey, Chavez Senior, again, I haven't really seen a lot of footage on him or anything like that. He
Yeah,
could shock us, and again, like I mean, he's most likely he's probably training with his son. All
yeah,
right. So like his son's obviously like younger than him. His son's probably like obviously his son's been boxing a lot more recently than Chavez Senior. So maybe it's helping him like gain his reflexes back or anything like that. We don't know. All right.
Absolutely, and you never know because this is the year where all the vets are just winning. We talked about it many times. We got Phil Mickelson winning, we got Tom Brady, of course, winning. We expect that. We got all the vets winning like winners do. You know what I mean? So you never know.
All right, Nate. Let's talk about the main event. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. versus Anderson Silva. Okay. Going to the stats for a little bit. So Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. He has a professional record of. I'm going to look at it right now. He has a professional record of 52 wins, 5 losses, and 1 draw. He's beaten some decent opponents, Nate. He has beaten Marco Reyes. He has beaten he's lost to Sergio Martinez. That's one. He's beaten a boxer that I personally know, Peter Manfredo. Shout out to him. He beaten him back in his early days. It is Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. Despite who he's lost to, he has fought some of the best fighters again in the game. That is a fact. Canelo Alvarez, Daniel Jacobs, Sergio Martinez. These are really, really good fighters, and he's fought them, and he's fought the best. So Anderson Silva, as for his boxing record, we know about his UFC days, but this ain't UFC, Nate. This is boxing. As for Anderson Silva, his boxing record, I'm going to look that up right now. It is actually 1-1, Nate. Okay, he has 1 win in boxing and 1 loss, and he has a knockout loss to Osmar Luis Teixeira, and he has a knockout win to Julio Cesar de Jesus, and that was back in 2005. So let's see, Nate. We are in 2005. So we are in 2021, Nate. It's been 16 years since Anderson Silva stepped into a boxing ring. Nate, it seems like yesterday when Anderson Silva was like the king of the middleweights, and he was just knocking out middleweights left and right. He was just beating them all, and there was nothing anyone was going to do about it. But now obviously times have changed. Now there's a new middleweight king in the UFC division, Israel Adesanya. And again, I wish him the best of luck too. He's doing a great job with that division. He's making it entertaining. But anyway, going back to this fight, Nate. Yeah, Anderson Silva, he is 46 years old, and Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. is 35. So obviously that's a big age difference right there, Nate. So again, hey, let me tell you something though, okay? The one thing that Anderson Silva has going for him is the fact that he is a natural striker. Regardless of like him fighting in the UFC, again, he still is a natural striker. He still knows how to put those punches together. And like you've seen what like a lot of people could say this was like a carried fight, but you've seen what like Conor McGregor did against Floyd Mayweather. He had some type of success in the early rounds, So again, I could definitely see that. I think this could go. I personally, Nate, in my opinion, I think this is probably going to be. So if this is, I don't know how many rounds this fight's going to be. I didn't really look that up, Nate. If you could find out for me, that'll be great. But let's just suppose this is a regular fight and this goes for like, I'm gonna just assume like 10 rounds, okay? Suppose this goes for like 10 rounds, okay? If I think Anderson Silva can make it past 5. But I still think Anderson Silva is going to get knocked out by Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. because Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., again, is an established boxer. He's been doing this for a very, very long time. So overall, Nate, I got Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. by knockout, but I think it's going to be like a late knockout. I think Anderson Silva is going to show a little bit of skills. I think he's going to have some highlights in this fight. But overall, I got Chavez Jr. winning it.
Yeah, so do I, and it really just all comes down to experience with this one. I'm pretty sure you said Anderson Silva was 1-1 in boxing.
Yes.
Yeah, so and no disrespect to Anderson Silva, I love watching him in the UFC, but there's a difference between that and boxing. They're 2 completely different things.
Absolutely, and he hasn't fought in 16 years in boxing.
Yeah, so it's been a long time, and I just don't think he's. I mean, I don't want to say he's like not experienced because obviously he has a boxing record, but like he's nowhere near as experienced as Julio Cesar Chavez.
It doesn't mean right. He's been boxing longer, but doesn't mean you box longer. Does not mean you're more experienced. It's all about how many fights you have under your belt and all the right. And not only that, his UFC again, his recent UFC fights, they haven't been in his favor. They haven't been that great, Nate.
Yeah, absolutely. So that could also play a role. overall, Mario, I do think Anderson Silva will give him some sort of trouble. But I don't think it's gonna be enough for Chavez Jr. not to handle. I think he'll definitely knock him out without a doubt.
Right, but look, I honestly like I got no problems with the Chavez family. You know, Chavez Senior, an absolute legend. Chavez Junior has been at the top of the mountain at one point. You know, so I got no problem against him. But Anderson Silva is my favorite, one of my favorite UFC fighters of all time. I'm rooting for that guy to win this fight.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. But overall, Mario, I think I'm gonna go with Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. winning this fight. He's definitely gonna knock him out. I can definitely see it.
All right. Well, with that being said, Nate, this fight it will be on Saturday. So within the time we were recording this video tomorrow, it will be the main card starts at 11:30 p.m. on DAZN. So make sure you guys go check that out. If you guys want to see the actual event, it's gonna start at 9:30. So make sure you go check that out as well. And look, best of luck to all the fighters that are going to be fighting on this card. Again, these are professional fighters. These are combat athletes, and I do respect them because they do put their bodies on the line for our entertainment. So salute to them. But with that being said, best of luck to these guys, and I'm looking forward to an exciting event.